Good morning. Happy Sunday. So for those of you who have a program in front of you, you can follow along with me. For those of you who do not have a program, I will read this for you. What I'm going to read for you is case number 87 from the Blue Cliff record. That's a koan collection. And the koan goes thusly. Yunmen said to the assembly, "Medicine and sickness cure each other. The whole earth is medicine. What is the self?" I'll read it again. Yunmen said to the assembly, "Medicine and sickness cure each other. The whole earth is medicine. What is the self?" Pretty cool. That's the Blue Cliff record. So I'm not going to talk about that koan. I just like it. I thought it would be a nice way to start. I'm going to indirectly refer to some of the ideas referred to by that koan, but please do not think of this as some high-level exegesis. That's not my way. What I do want to start with today, though, is the reference to sickness in medicine, of course, is central to the tradition that we now call Buddhism, right? The relationship between suffering and what transforms suffering, what heals suffering, what changes suffering, how we relate to suffering, what ends suffering. We know that's kind of Buddhism's central project, right? We know that at the heart of the tradition we call Buddhism, we find the universal truth of suffering. And at the heart of our Zen tradition, because we are part of what's called Mahayana, we find the ideals of compassion and wisdom rising up to meet that universal suffering. All right, everything in our tradition is going to come back and have some connection to that fundamental relationship between compassion and wisdom and the thing that we call suffering. Right? The liturgy that we do here, the zazen that we do here, retreats, meetings with teachers, black cushions, pledge drives, people folding programs out on the porch with koans that the speaker doesn't refer to. All those things have some relationship, right? They're designed to be connected to the fact that the experience of suffering is universal. And our tradition holds that the best way of relating to that suffering is with compassion and wisdom. So we have some archetypes. I talk about these two archetypes a lot. There are many, many other archetypes, but I talk about these two mostly because I'm still working with them. Right? Avalokiteshvara and Manjushri. Most of us know those words. If you're new, you don't know those words. Those are big vocab words. They are awesome at Scrabble. If you can pull one of those out. Avalokiteshvara, yeah, you just won the game. If you can find that in Scrabble. Avalokiteshvara is our emblematic figure, our bodhisattva, our totem of compassion, right? She is compassion, the essence of compassion. So what I want to suggest to you is that she appreciates suffering. She's the goddess of compassion, the bodhisattva of compassion, the archetype of compassion. And so what I want to suggest, and this is just a suggestion, this is not truth being handed down from above. I'm just suggesting the idea that one of the qualities of her relationship with suffering must be appreciation. I'm suggesting she is in loving relationship with suffering. I am suggesting that compassion meets the suffering of the world with the elixir of acceptance and profound kindness. And acceptance and kindness are included in appreciation, right? Do you see how these are just words? We're playing with words, right? We're just playing with words. But there's a power in the symbol of a word, right? The word acceptance is a symbol for something, right? The word Avalokiteshvara is just a symbol for something. And so even though these are just symbols we're playing with, language does have the possibility of showing us some nuance in our experience, because they're not as discrete as we like to imagine them being. What's the difference between loving relationship and appreciation? What's the difference between loving relationship and appreciation and kindness and acceptance and compassion? Are they all just different words for the very same thing, or are they all kind of facets on the same jewel? I don't know the answer to that. But I've found that playing with language around these qualities really helps open my experience. And the reason that matters is because my job, like yours, is to be Avalokiteshvara. Right? I did not come to this place to worship Avalokiteshvara. I came to this place to remember that I am that, and therefore getting in touch in my feeling body, in my physical body, in my thinking body, in my memory body, in my karma body, with experiences of kindness and acceptance and inclusion and compassion, and really playing with that. What does that feel like? What does that actually do to the experience of suffering when it arises in my heart? What does that actually do? I want to watch it happen. Does that kind of make sense? I mean, all of us have had the experience of going, oh, I'm so angry, or oh, I'm so disappointed, oh, I'm so scared, oh, I'm so lost, oh, I'm so lonely, oh, I'm so confused. You know, I don't have to give you your list. You know the list, right? And when that experience that we call suffering is met inside of you with the other quality that you possess, that whole list we just, kindness, acceptance, curiosity, compassion, wisdom, to actually watch in your experience, to watch that thing happen. What it doesn't feel like to me is one thing eradicated the other, or one thing had an enemy and the enemy defeated it. It doesn't feel like my suffering had an enemy that came in and killed it. It doesn't feel like that to me. It feels instead like my sadness was held and appreciated and understood. Do you feel it? And something else began to happen. And the impermanent state called sadness or loneliness, like a cloud in the sky, began to change all by itself. It wasn't an act of oppositional violence. It wasn't an idea of one thing having more power than the